Hello, 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 my lovelies. How's it going? I'm around the house just doing like putting up markers that need to be put up, a little cleanup, going to work on sketch cards. Of course, worked on head sketches for everybody that backed Devil Flyer, either horizontal like these geos, even went beyond and did some extra stuff that might have a hand and a hammer in it, but some in black and white, some in color. Uh, Zeitgeist. I didn't know he was in there with the Geos, so I had to put him with the other Zeitgeist. Uh, Even did some redesigns of Smolder. Uh, just different looks for what Smolder might look like. I thought nothing's written in stone yet. I can do that. I haven't backed myself into a corner. Beep beep beep. Hopefully you can see these and it's not potato cam. If it is, it's too damn early anyway. It's like 2:30 in the morning. So just gathering up like these head sketches, trying to see. Also, I'll check them against the files of what I already had scanned, and we'll scan the rest. Welcome to the second episode of Chill and Hang. I took a little Napski. That's Russian, just to let you know. Took a little Napski, so I'm ready to go. I don't have to require that much sleep. I do work today. I've got my coffee in hand. Although it's just lukewarm. It's not hot. Got a little juice here to drink. Wine punch, I think. I've created a new character. And I'm working on it. It's not done yet, so I won't reveal it till it's done, or should I? Maybe I should, just for public record, right? Don't have a name for this. He is going to be one of the 43. There is he in a cloak. He's going to be an energy like creature, if you say individual. He's one that never really formed into a body, that remained like pure energy, almost like wildfire. Um, Again, tired, decided, not to have a drawstring, just rest, sore from working. Now, after the rest, not so sore, which is good because I have another day's work ahead of me. But after I get done with my day's work, which will be like, they might wash some more jars, specimen jars. They may have already done them all yesterday, but they definitely got some traps to wash. I vacuumed my truck yesterday that I work in and washed the truck. Today I will wash the truck. I said I'm just going to leave at noon. Uh, you know, uh, and get some more rest, and then the final push for the final day of work, because I've been working day and night. I've had service calls, which was pretty cool actually. That getting this much work at the end of the season, although it's nothing to hoot about, believe me. But the 10th is generally the day I think most out of the 13 years that I've worked for them. This does conclude 13 seasons that I've done with them. Um, there's a couple other guys they thought they like yesterday, and then that they weren't going to be around, Larry Talbot and Larry Adams, and yet they were there washing traps. I guess she called them, and I didn't have to wash any traps. And there's Richard, who's also been gathering out the traps. Thank you, how dear. Sent it twice. Wow. Uh, One thing I need to do is retweet the show because How Dear did not do it. That's okay. You know, uh, you're a jewel to do it as much as you do. Maybe we'll get some more likes on it, more views. 55 people have viewed it already. Pretty good show today. Not bad. The day before was 70 views. That's a difference of 30 minutes and maybe the day, you know. Of course, today is Feature Friday and we're going to be talking some Joe Kubert. So, you know, at some point when I get back to work, I need to, look at, get some Joe Kubert stuff ready to show for today's show. But right now we're just chilling and hanging. This is the second episode. This is me flying solo and just doing what I do. So I may get up and I may mute the mic and I may get up and I've still got these trade paperbacks to put in the long box because I did my first episode of Trade Ya like 3 days ago, and where I showed a bunch of DC trades. I'm working on so I'm working on getting all these trades put up back in the long box. I already have some of them up standing there on the stairs. Stairs are right behind this wall, right behind my computer. And trying to put them in some semblance of order and flip them like you would comic books, spine on the right, spine on the left, spine on the right, spine on the left, So I took the one blank sketch card and I actually made it one of the 43. So, a new character, strike while the iron's hot. I drew a little thing on an envelope of what he should look like. And, I've done that much on it just to show you How Dear, because I don't know if you were here when I showed it earlier. So now I just have to put the face in. He's a cloaked energy type character. Hopefully that wasn't Potato Cam. The one I did before that was sort of a placeholder for Mr. Happy. He's like a drug dealer that, you try his drug, you die, with a smile on your face. Kind of like Joker gas or something like that, right? And then there's Silver Age Boa. Golden Age Boa, rather. Will there be a Silver Age Boa? I don't know. I figure maybe modern day Boa's father opted out. Maybe he tried it, failed at it, and said, "This is nuts." And then I'm working on also starting to ink Storm Rider. Name this character Hell Rider, spelled with a Y. So we've got him named now. Nice looking, good, yeah. He's kind of like Wildfire. Wildfire is basically like a containment suit for the energy being that he is, which kind of makes sense when the 43, which was a super Nazi World War II experiment. And I know all that's been done. No need to reinvent the wheel. But yeah, I do want to touch base with what happens in World War II because I do have characters like Golden Age Silver Boa, the start of the Silver Boa legacy, and I'm even thinking about doing a future Silver Boa, and in that story that takes place in 250 years in the momentum future of that there will be a descendant of the Silver Boa. That Silver Boa legacy is still going on. I don't know. It could be modern day Silver Boa, and at some point in his career, he goes to the future because he loves Jenna or some other girl, right? And and wants to be with her in her time. I don't know. You know, maybe with that grade weaponry, you know, Flash Gordon, whatever. But yeah, I'm not done with head sketches, even though I've done, you know, when I feel like, you know, some will have backgrounds. That's not really a head sketch because it's got a hand and hammer. So I'm telling you right now, nobody's going to get this one. It's got to qualify as a head sketch. Now, a head sketch can have like background, you know, can even have, you know, a scene uh, in the background. I had a good one here. Let's see, where is it? Oh, right here. It might be in black and white, might be in color. You know, quite a bit, quite a bit going on there. But and I'll select what, you know, select the best and leave the rest. So I've got these to take in there. I've got the trade paperbacks, and Abby's getting, hey, no need for all that. Got a crocheted thing that my grandmother, and she's been laying on it, but she likes to knead it up and, you know, make a nest. And it's trapped underneath a comic book box, so she can't move the whole thing. And I don't want you to shred it with your nails. Just lay down there. Of course, I'll be going back and forth and might disturb her. This is the original 43 piece where I just had blank characters and was creating, and I'm almost done with it. I haven't done any more work on it. I stopped on it. I might have a name for this woman that just seems to be wandering the space, the heavens, and call her the Wanderer. I don't know. I think there was another alternate name. I named this character Viro. Still don't have a name for the rock guy. They are all super Nazis. This is Euphoria. Hey, Appaloosa, and I know that's not your name, Alfonso. uh, Sort of the cheetah athletic woman. I don't have a name for her. I haven't even drawn her besides this. I was just trying to I did name her. I'm trying to think. Oh, Blitzkrieg. She's a speedster. This is Blood Sword. He's kind of like made of metal. Hopefully you can see this cosmic like guy. Don't know. I haven't named him yet. Pyro type, which might be a good name for her, spelled differently, you know, Pyro for uh this female chick. And these I'm not even sure about, you know, but this was the impetus, the start of, you know, they're all cosmic baddies, and this was all blanks, like I say, and white. And I added the star field and everything on it, did the inking, and sort of put the backdrop for this. I am proud of this, you know, the characters that I've come up with and the ideal for that and everything. Um, Morning to you, Alfonso Riley. I didn't have time to draw on my break today. I had to do 2 jobs again. Hopefully they can find a replacement for this evening. Uh, Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Uh, I know you were talking about the other head sketch. So, uh, I need to keep my area clean and actually clean, you know, quite a bit more here if I want to keep everything flowing and copacetic. But I realize, you know, now that work has ended, after I go to work today, that is, and wash my truck, hopefully wash Richard's truck, who goes out and collects the traps, that collects the insects. And I really said, I wish you would send me out with Richard just to pick them up, you know, so that I could find out their locations. He had like 4 cities to do. Yes, uh, uh, to do. Uh, and she said, but there's, I don't think there's that many traps within And she mentioned Wynn. I go down Wynn, and I've been told there's 7 traps there, so, and there's only so many that'll fit in his truck. So he may have to take more than one trip, to pick up everything. It's a lot to do because we do 7 cities, I think. We've got Paragould, we've got Brooklyn, we've got Jonesboro, which is the biggest where I live, population of about, they say 78,000 something, 80,000, let's say. We've got Wynn, we've got Truman, we've got Pocahontas, and um, uh, Walnut Ridge. I kept wanting to call it Mark Tree, which is right outside of where Dice, Arkansas, where Johnny Cash was born, but that's not right. That's past Truman. I seem to be their Truman guy now, somewhat. Have taken that over. Gary quit and didn't come back this season. He was the Truman guy for the first couple years, maybe 2 or 3 years of it. This might be the 3rd year. I think he did it for a couple years, maybe 3 years, and just didn't come back. Our daytime crew quit. So, and even the boss is talking about, this next season might be his last. Guarantee you the contracts aren't going away. His boss is about 45-minute drive from here in a place called Blytheville. So we'll see what the big shakeup is. I would like to put in, this will probably be my longest working job of any job that I've done. To date, it is. I worked at Christian bookstore for over 6 years. And I thought, and that was previously the longest job I worked at, but I never expected when I started this job to be working for 13 years by any means. I actually were working 2 jobs. I got a job driving a van for which he kind of shut that business down anyway. So that was good. He said I didn't call in one day and fired me. And I said, I did call in, and I'm sorry, your secretary doesn't have a record. And I went in and I showed him where I called him on my phone. And I said, after all 4 years of working for you, more trust me than this, that I would do the right thing. Here's the proof. And I don't want to work for a liar anyway. And I left. You got to hold people accountable for their actions. Screw that. It's, things happen for a reason, at the time you might think, well, I'm out of a job and blah, blah, blah. Well, the good thing was, I started that job just slightly before the other job. The guy that recommended that job to me also and worked for them also worked for Vector. And so he recommended that job. I got that job. But the only drawback with it is here in Arkansas, it's seasonal. If you're down Louisiana, Texas, Florida, some of those eastern states where the mosquitoes are bad, it's year round. Mighty Geek Studios in the house. Top of the morning to you. As Caleb Reynolds says, top of the morning to you as well. What's new? Well, working on sketch cards, doing some cleanup, just doing my thing, got inking on a Storm Rider card. Got to finish the Golden Age Silver Boa card. I'm working on these out of order as I feel like I, want to do. I finished the Mr. Happy sort of placeholder card. I'm not, that's just, I don't really have the character designed yet, but I wanted to take a stab at it anyway. And then there's this new character that I'm working on, and he's going to be one of the 43, sort of an energy type entity in a cloak. His body didn't reform. I think that was a great idea. That popped into my head, and there were a few others too. About Devil Flyer, and I can't remember without going in there and write it down or you forget it. That's the stuff pops into my head when my mind is relaxed And they say right after you wake up, your alpha waves of your brain are at its peak. So I love, now it's kind of disappointing when you wake up and the alpha waves aren't striking and that epiphanies and those little things are not happening, but when it's, writing, sometimes it's writing, sometimes it's both, new characters pop into my head. Midnight popped into my head after waking up. TM popped in my head. You're going to love TM. His whole thing that I've figured out for him. And I haven't figured it out all, but enough, the, you may not know the arc, but you know the trajectory, the direction you're headed. And that's a lot about what Devil Flyer is, and which is just like nip and tuck. And it is getting easier as these things fall into place. Like I had, I know what the Devil Flyer sort of epiphany was that I wrote down, which was like in this story that takes place 250 years in the future. I guarantee you, no one is taking the leap in storytelling like I am currently. Guarantee you they're not. Because I'm looking towards the future and I'm looking towards the past and I'm incorporating all of it, the present, past, and future. And I have figured out you can start a story wherever you want and you'll be introduced to characters that you haven't seen before, like the 43. The 43 here, some of these individuals, and not all of them, this is just part of them, right? I think there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 on here. That's a long way from 43 characters. I've rode a couple of characters into the 43. I've created new characters for the 43, but not near. I haven't taken account of how close I'm getting to 43, but I don't think I'm there. And I don't know about a couple of these. If all these are viable. I've done a trading card, designed a trading card of Blitzkrieg. She's a speedster. Besides this, I had not drawn Drew Bloodsword and didn't even have a name for him. But since I drew the sketch card, I have a name for him now. Viro didn't have a name, and I've even expanded on his story, just thinking about him, that he can create an army, infect people, and create sort of acolytes that follow him. So, because these are psychotic Nazis who have been in a transporter accident where their atoms and molecules have been torn apart and then reassembled. Whereas the new character, which I haven't named yet, which is just a cloak with an energy being within it, much like Wildstorm or Wildfire, rather, in from Legion of Superheroes. His is much like a containment suit. He's an energy being. Well, that's kind of what this guy is. His body just remained energy, cohesive energy that's not dissipating, but much like the sun, I guess, he's got a source that he's burning for, and he can, of course, steal energy from different sources to feed himself. And one might be the life essence of people. A lot of these characters, like Euphoria and this new character, are going to feed off the life essence of other people because their humanity and their what shred of humanity, a Nazi super soldier volunteer had has been taken away from them. That's, Omer asked me, well, what's with all the characters with blank faces? Well, it's almost a metaphor that their personalities have been taken away. Their humanity has been stripped away from them. And it's also a lot quicker not to draw. Look, man, I'm not taking shortcuts, but if I do, it's like I give a reason why, and it is a great metaphor. In fact, I've got a painting up there where it's a little bit different. They're kind of cyclopean, but basically they're blank too, but they're very interesting visually, you know. Um, Great thing is with fiction, you can give a reason why or not, but it's always good if you have a cool reason why the character looks like they look, why they act like they act, and it's all coming together, and you got sort of infectious type character, you got Euphoria, which is a gaseous type character, you got this rock guy that's just like a big bruiser, you got the speedster, you got Bloodsword that's kind of made out of organic metal, much like Colossus. I'm not reinventing the wheel, but I am putting my own bent on it. And they are baddies, like I said, the rock guy, Euphoria, they're kind of based on the UFOs, which first were Incredible Hulk. Always those characters stuck with me. And even they were derivative characters from the Fantastic Four and had the same origin basically as the Fantastic Four. But they were fun visually, and it was a good story, and it wasn't, and it must have took because they've been around ever since. I mean, in multiple stories, it didn't take them long to write the return of the UFOs. I can't wait to write my first return of story, to have that much depth, and have introduced the story characters and then, you know, be able to say the return of Doctor Doom, or something. Which really, like I said, you can start with anywhere in the story you want, you know. A lot of people aren't looking at it that way. They're thinking, okay, first act, third act. I mean, first act, second act, third act. You know, you don't necessarily have to do that. Star Wars didn't do that. Chapter 4, right? New Hope. Confused me at the time, but then I was only 12 years old. you know, I didn't know why. By the time the droids made it down to the planet, I was confused. I remember that confusion. I was like, what the hell's going on? What is this? It's almost like someone conveyed a story that they went to a friend of mine that an associate of mine back in college. He's passed away now, sadly, but he was quite a bit older. I was in my around 20, and he was like late 40s, almost 50. But I hung around with an older crowd. I hung around with people that were in their 30s, like Elsie and Charles. Charles passed away too. Had to have a liver transplant before he passed away, which that extended his life. Hey, Mrs. G. Good morning, Rex. What are you doing up at this hour? Well, I want to make sure I don't believe in alarm clocks. So, and I've had a nap. I've had to sleep. I didn't do a stream after the 4 o'clock shadow. So, I'm perky. I'm awake, and I'm just doing my own thing, and saying good morning to everyone, having my cup of coffee, which is lukewarm, and doing the things that I need to do. Pew, pew, pew. So I better get to it. But just give you some background on what I'm working on, which is sketch cards for right now. The magic number right now is 73 backers. So I did hand out a card to our secretary at work, a charter member card. So I've upped the number to 74 now. There are some Compton people from the first campaign that will be getting some too. I do have my order in for another 100, and I hadn't heard from them, but that's par on course for them. They're busy. But I did say, can you please confirm to me if you have received my order to print another 100? And I'm sure she has, and probably maybe I already have them printed up. That's the way they do. They get the job done and don't contact you. which I can't pay them till Monday anyway. So screw it. We'll just have to wait to pick up and I'm not done with these yet. I just didn't want to run out. And there's new characters that I want to create, kind of like with the head sketches. I'd create new characters. I like that. Sometimes you get some inspiration or just the thing pops into my head, like I say, or like maybe story points or, I don't try and direct it. I think too often people don't use their creativity, especially in comics. True creativity, where it is that Jackson Pollock all over the place, Yeah, you got to rein it in to make it, you know, where people can understand it, or do you? That's a choice. I want to be understood somewhat. I do not know what you mean. Well, you know, sometimes the artists, I don't have all the answers. If I did, we would be sitting down, meditating, and contemplating the secrets of the universe, which I do, because I'm a single guy and I can do that. Being married is like being chained to the planet. you know, being married is like a planet killer, when it comes to, I mean, it doesn't have to be, okay? Mrs. G might go, what? Because it's worked out great for her. That's good. Finding your significant other is wonderful. For me, I took another course and maybe it wasn't the best course, Uh, I'm not opposed to marriage. I'm not even saying that I wouldn't get married in the future, but uh, you find that right person for you. But the creativity and the time, uh, I think everybody needs to be, whether they're married or anything, you need to give each other time to breathe and do your own thing, right? And your own personal time. Even if you're married, you need to give that significant other a personal time to develop and to also not lose their identity. It's easy to lose your identity in marriage, and you should become as one flesh, but uh and I did see your comment, Mrs. G. I didn't want to lose my track, so I'm not addressing it right now. Maybe here in a second. Um, uh, yeah, I mean, just as a single person, from my perspective, I had to look at my life when I was nothing but single, and probably even at that time, no girlfriend. Uh, it's like had my parents in my life, had my wives in my life. Now I got to deal with Rex. And I was talking about this with somebody last night or the night before, after I got home from work on the phone. I said, so many people aren't, and you can tell it by the internet people, they're not looking themselves in the mirror and they're not working on them. There's one person I need to work on, and that's not Mrs. G. That's not Howder 64. That's not Alfonso. That's not Caleb. That's not a Shadowhawk. That's not Homer. That's not anybody but Rex, and the same is for you. Mrs. G needs to work on Mrs. G. Howdeer needs to work on Howdeer, right? I mean, that's all we can do. And if I clean up my backyard and you clean up your backyard, we'll have a civil society. It's when you don't take personal responsibility for your actions and you play the blame game and the victim game. And even some people on here that profess to preach against wokeism and not like it, they're practicing a little bit of it themselves, because they're not. And a lot of people put a mask on, you know, that's the great thing. I think people are looking for authenticity. They're looking for the truth. There or some truth in life, and they want to see people as themselves. And that may not be, some people are harder to like than others. Um, Fortunately, I tend to get along with everyone, and they tend to get along with me, which is a good thing. But now I've made enemies since I've been on the internet, you know, for better or worse. Mrs. G says, probably I'm just one of the lucky ones. Not easy to find someone to put up with your bullshit for life. Absolutely. Absolutely. People are going to belch The fart, forgive me, Miss G. Back in today. Tragic meatloaf. The tragedy of it all. Yeah, I mean, you are one of the lucky ones. Only the lucky ones. Loverboy. Love him. Now, Shadowhawk, he doesn't like Loverboy. You know, when it comes to musical taste, there's a lot of people that like, how can you listen to I listen to very little music. I don't look, that's a distraction to me. You know, TV's entertainment to me, but it can be a distraction. For the most part, I keep my mind working. With The Expanse, I want to expand maybe my plot ideas. I would like to get Night Gallery, the other seasons that I don't have, the complete collection, just for the story points. And there may be nothing in there that I can use, and Night Gallery might be free on YouTube, but it's something I want to own, though, probably in kind of like I've already got the complete set of Twilight Zone and Outer Limits and One Step Beyond. Don't have the complete thing of that. That goes back to the early 60s, I think, maybe even to the 50s, probably early 60s around Twilight Zone time. But now I think maybe even late 50s, because that's when the Twilight Zone came out, 59, I think. Thank you, How Dear, for dropping the link to the campaign. It's going to be awesome. I was raised on music and reruns of MASH. Couldn't live without it. I know. See, like Mama Hawk, she listens to music all the time. A lot of people like that. I do love music. I get caught up into it. I like it. It's just not something that I don't. There's been times I've listened to music while I'm driving at night, all night long. Usually when I go down there, depending on the truck, I don't get good reception. I'd listen to audiobooks, the ones that have CD players in them. We just got a new truck that's about $38,000. I got to drive it the other day, brand spanking new, 40 something miles on it. Didn't drive it, just moved it, backed it up. But I got to drive it. They're probably not going to give me that truck. I don't know what plans they've got for it, but I did have a nice truck, and then something happened to it, and I switched truck. Now I'm back to smaller. I kind of like it. The only thing is, and I need to make a note for myself, that truck pulls to the right very hard. Mike Walters in the house. Hey, Mike. And so it needs an alignment bad, because I'm fighting that all night long, all night. And if it was one night, okay. It's not. It's every night for the whole year. You're fighting this wheel all the time that just wants to go to the right as hard as it can. Gets tiring. They really need to align that truck. I need to, tell the secretary that. Let me make myself a note for that. Let me use this other here. Work truck. Need to make a distinction there. And hopefully I'll see that. And are you working in the winter too? No. Now if things necessitate, I normally don't. What I work on is like putting stuff on eBay to sell, or, working the channel, which I need to get all the information they need so that I can get super chats again, because we are monetized. That could be a nice source of income. Especially, if I have good interviews and people want people to ask questions, they, want their questions read to these creators, then that could be very good. I wish I had that set up when I was doing some banger interviews. which is wild. I set these things up and they don't get that many views. I'm like, what the crap, you know? Maybe it's the day. Maybe it's that they don't know how great a creator this is. It's been around for 50 years, you know, like, and I'm talking kind of Mike Gustovich or Michael Gilbert. You know, those are two people that I kind of brought into the community that's I've not seen anybody else reach out to, and they were early indie comic creators, back in the 70s. They were doing it when nobody else was doing it, you know. But whatever. Uh yeah, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. I know my sister's going to come see me in November. I'm probably going to take a little vacation trip. We'll see. Uh, not for very long, you know, a couple days maybe. We'll see. But you won't have to wait long for 4 o'clock shadow. But this is the time that I work on the channel and I try and stream more and do more. With that, I haven't paid my StreamYard. So, they still haven't said, well, you can only stream to one channel. That's the one thing about it, you know. But I try and use up those free hours that they give me, and then I'll pay for another. Yeah, and I haven't found another alternative to them. It's good when the money, you know, they doubled the price. And I get it. I hope they lose a lot of business. I really do. Screw you, StreamYard. Sorry, I'm using your platform, but you know what you do is corporate BS, and I don't like it, and no one else does either. I suspect. So I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to put these. One of the biggest things I can do is put these trade paperbacks back in the box. So I'm going to mute myself for a minute and put these in there. Cleaning and organization is a big part of what I do, you know, what I need to do around here so that I can find scripts that are going to go in Devil Flyer or other things that I've written down and start actually getting all this stuff organized. And it's going to help the show, I think, help the channel, you know, just by simply getting a lot of this stuff that have gotten out of order, which started a long time ago, you know, with doing the 4 o'clock shadow. I've got comic book boxes all over the house where I was like showing physical comics, and I've gotten my whole collection out of order. I wouldn't say whole collection, okay, but I've gotten a lot of it out of order and it needs to be put in order. Uh, one of these days, I'll have the money to build me a place to house most of my collection, and then I can get my house back. I've never really had my house. I've had to live with my collection, which is good to a certain extent, but I have quite a collection, and it can be overwhelming and, you know, and messy looking. And people, like somebody called me a hoarder, and my mother even thinks that I'm a hoarder. And maybe to a certain degree I am, you know. I'm just doing I'm the greatest advice I've ever gotten on the internet was from Fanta, and I kid you not. You do you, boo. If you think about that, you do you, boo. That's right. Look in the mirror, work on yourself, and do your own thing, your own unique thing. And either people will respond to that or they won't. And if they don't, that's their problem, you know. And if they don't, maybe you need to reevaluate, do things differently, maybe not. That's up to you. You do you. You and that's what I try and do. I try and stay in my own lane, and people can stay in their own channels and their own lane and do their thing. And if they're successful, great. If they're not, can't tell you why. I mean, a lot of people would say, you know, Rex, as long as you've been at this, you should be doing this and that and that. Well, maybe, maybe not. I've always said, look, I'm doing me. I'm slow rolling it. It's going to take some time, and I'm fine with that. I don't always do things, quote, the normal way. like most people would do it. If it takes me double the time, I'm fine with that. That's just the journey along the way, the path of that may not be the easiest path, but I'm exploring. I'm an explorer. And I realize I've wasted a lot of time like that through my life and still continue to. I bleed out. Super chatting, all of the guests for TM would have been lucrative. Yeah, well, I wasn't monetized at that time. But yeah, see, I can still do that. I can still run another competition, like name this new character, this new 43 character that I haven't named. I'm always creating new characters or have characters. I've had characters for decades I still haven't named. You know, I wasn't even happy with the name Bog. It's just the best thing that I could think of, you know. Um, but yeah, I can definitely run another competition or something. It's like I want to make sure that I get everybody their stuff they won from the last competition, you know, uh, before I run any more. But yeah, that's a good suggestion, Mrs. G, to run another thing after I get my super chats back up. You know, um, I'll be exploring the options, and I'll have a lot more time to think about it. You know, uh, I've stocked up on meals. Good thing I did because the price keeps going up and up on, for Abby. My pantry's a little lower than what I would. Like I said, this year has been off for me financially by $2,000, which I did not see coming at all. I was hoping that wouldn't be the case, but it was. So you deal with it. Um, that was probably the most fun I've had on your channel. I had a blast. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun, and we'll revisit that. Absolutely. I want it to be fun. I think people like games. I think that was a good suggestion that Dillard made very early on about this channel was, some kind of game, but you kind of have to sit down and think about, okay, what kind of game, trivia game or something like that. And I know Flying Feline does that on Tuesdays. Um, and was doing that before I started putting up content on my channel every day. Um, yeah, I mean, this channel has been like really hot, mediocre to cold. I mean, it's just kind of surged. It's like not a constant stream. And hopefully we can keep it burning hot, you know, especially now that I can stream more. But more there's been times I've wanted to stream that I haven't. Like tonight, I was like, do I not? I've been wanting to get in another chill and hang stream, and I'm well rested. I don't want to go to the point of exhaustion to where I'm not any good at work tomorrow, even though I don't have that much to do on my last day of work. But it is a different schedule of working days, you know. But at least I didn't have to go out tonight like I did the night before, because that's tiring to work at night. And actually, I was an hour and a half late for work. Uh, Supposed to get there at 8 and got there at 9:30, but I still got all my work done, if that makes sense. I just I went to bed, and that's always and I woke up a few times. That last time I didn't, and I really got into that, but I needed the rest. Um, moved a couple, was helping them move a big thing, gets me sore. Putting the backpack with the chemical on there for a couple days has made me sore. Doing a lot more walking, around that person's estate. They put this, they knew they were going to have this party of like 75 to 100 doctors at their house back in June and put this thing back in June, but got that past me. All I had to do is help them wash traps. And in between the two of them, they can probably finish up the traps. If they don't, I'll join in. Richard needs his truck washed. Hopefully we can help each other and make it a light load. I've already got mine vacuumed out I found my Garmin suction cup, and then you put the Garmin on the ball there. I went into Dollar General earlier this year and it popped off. It didn't have, I hadn't put it on there properly and I couldn't find it, and nobody else could find it either. And I wasn't even looking for it. I think I was vacuuming or kind of cleaning out the truck yesterday, and it was right there by the driver's seat, by the console, and I just happened to see it and fish it out of the crack. It was like, yay, I needed to find that before everything shut down for the season. So I'm very glad to find that. That way I can put it up on the windshield and I don't have to have it down here or something. I can put it up there on the windshield and kind of direct myself to wherever I need to go, which I use that to come back from Atlanta. That was given to me. And if I go out of state on my vacation, I may, I'll have to use that. I wouldn't even think about taking a vacation out of a state to an area that I've not been to without the thing. It's been extremely helpful. I do have maps on your phone, but I don't have a cradle where you can do that and drive. I will be setting up my overhead cam where you can see me draw. I don't know how that's going to work because a lot of times I've got smaller object in my hand with a backing board here and I'm working like this. So what, am I going to do this under the camera? I'm doing me. And if you look at the top of my head I get it. People want to see the sausage made. I get it. There'll be pieces that I do that. I've already thinking about other stories. I need to help myself more artistically, and that's one thing I have planned to do is I'm thinking about a story with Euphoria because she's such a neat character. She's a psychotic basket case, Of course, all the 43 are. I walked nights for 15 years. I've always tried when I tried switching back to a day schedule for weekends and vacation days. Yeah. You work nights, not walked. You work nights. Yeah. I like the nighttime. I do, but it is a switch. Yeah. I wouldn't really want to work daytime, but that's where the hours are with the job that I do. At least that's what it was for Larry, who kind of took over the daytime crew job, along with the other Larry. I think they kind of were rotating out. They were kind of the most reliable wanting to do it. And that's probably the most hours Larry Adams, who's been there a year longer than I have, has actually worked, to tell you the truth, because he normally sprays the whole city. I say city, town. I'm not sure how many people, maybe about 8,000 people. Not very big, he usually sprays the whole town and he hasn't gotten that many hours. And why he does that, I guess, you won't get rich with this job, but you'll have some good spending money. Of course, all mine, I could live very comfortably on what I earn. But it's like, okay, getting things published, getting things shipped out, getting things made, printed up, mine goes into comic books and that can get expensive. So I will be helping myself out as the stories come. I've been thinking about this energy type character, kind of like throwback I created recently on the sketch card. And I said, that's the character I need for the Midnight story, the old lady Midnight story. That's the character, because I didn't really have a character in mind for that story that kind of fit that story. Throwback fits that story perfectly. this new energy character. I was thinking maybe that could be the one that fits that Geo story that I've done almost 2 pages of, not quite, maybe a page and a half. I haven't finished the first page. I finished the top scene of the second page. And I'm like, there's a character that sort of teleports in or whatever in front of him. But I'm like, which character do I put there? Well, it might be this cloaked character in his energy form where he doesn't even have the cloak yet. I don't know. You know, I was thinking how it might arrive, but I thought, oh, with the 43, they can pop up anywhere. So maybe it's one of the 43 that pops up in front of Geo where you introduce that character, you know, because I am excited about doing more Geo and establishing that character. It's crazy to think that we Miss G says, it's crazy to think that we ever found where we were going before digital maps. Give anyone a paper map under the age of 30 and see what happens. Yeah. I mean, yeah. And then you fold this darn thing out. And then the hardest thing of that, Miss G, is getting the darn thing folded again. You know, to me, that's like a freaking Rubik's Cube at times. And what are you doing up so late or early, young lady? Do you get up early this early and to go to work? Chastise my chafing ass, you know, for, some things, in here I need to get rid of or put somewhere else. I probably put this in the windowsill. This is a piece of bark that I took off my pine tree. Look at that freaking thing. That's huge. That's as big as my hand. That's a big piece of bark off the tree. The tree's right in the corner of this room, right there. Probably 5-6 story tall pine tree that eventually, hopefully this year coming up, cross your fingers, I have cut down. I hate to cut it down, but I don't want the roots to upset the house eventually. And I don't want the neighbor's house that it's kind of over a little bit to get damaged or part of it to fall on this house. Because you have a 5-6 story tree fall on your house, which I had a tree, part of it fall on my chimney and had to get it fixed earlier this year. Remember paper mats? Yeah. I mean, they're still around. I'm off to work for a little bit and fell asleep early and then woke up with the heartburn like an old fart. Yeah, I do that too. Eat, go to bed, try and lay down on it. I'm up within an hour or two, and sometimes the acid just all the way to your mouth. And it's like, then you're choking, even choking fit. Not a good feel, not a good for your, I have to work for a little bit and I fell asleep earlier and then see you're a little well rested. Yeah. It's hard. It's bad to wake up with indigestion or heartburn though. That's for sure. I've got Pez like I've shown here that needs to be moved out of the way. I mean, there's just a million different little things that need to be done. Place needs to be tidied up, and that's what I'll be working on. And it's easy. I couldn't do what Omer does. All his streams are draw streams, and he's trying to change that. I think add a little bit of variety. And I know within a draw stream, you can still tell jokes and do a lot of other things. Um, but I can't devote all my time to drawing. I can't do it. I mean, I could do it, but other things are going to be out of whack, out of balance. You have to allow time for other things than that. But yes, getting the work done as far as drawing. And I'm here to say I'm going to be ramping that up and actually trying to draw some more stories and it But again, there's the time factor. It takes a lot of time to do your very best work. Uh, and that's just my brain altogether. Even before CG came around and sort of the concept, we crowdfund this thing. We do our very best work. You know, I'm kind of like that anyway. I want to do if I'm going to put it out there in the universe to be enjoyed by others or even by myself, I want it to be the very best. I want to show you my skill level, to the very best that I can do at that time. Tums, don't even touch it anymore. I need Pepto on tap. Why don't you? Yeah, and I think the liquid sometimes is more fast acting than that stuff. Why don't you get some Prevacec or something like that? Do you do that? The actual medication part of it. And a lot of it is if you eat spicy food, of course, or acidic food, like tomato sauce gets to me a lot, but it is, tangy and yummy. And yeah, I've done away with ketchup. Ketchup is trash, turns out. Not good for you. So I've done away with that. Um, I know I love fries with ketchup, and I like ketchup with steak, like Trump does. Um, I'm just not one of those fancy A1 people or barbecue sauce or something. I'd prefer just straight ketchup. My favorite condiment, and I just spilled that on myself. Um, oh, I know what it did it bourbon and onion rings. It was a day of bad decisions. Yeah. Yeah. Onion will do that. I've had my last sort of stuff was onion, but onion's really good for you. And I've gotten red onion. It's a price point thing with me, but red onion's actually got some benefits that some of the other onions don't. I get Vidalias, I get sweet onions, yellow onions, white onions. It doesn't matter. I like most onions. The leek kind that you just kind of eat raw with, and really, I probably just now enjoy onion even raw. Um, I never quite ate that with the fish, never liked that aspect, but I could probably do it in a fish fry today, sure. But you know, uh, yeah, I could probably do that. I've not done it, but I probably would today. Um, I love onion rings. I'm always looking for the better onion ring and the better barbecue. It might seem counterintuitive, but taking apple cider vinegar before meals can help with heartburn. Yeah, and it's got its own health benefits actually. And yeah, and you're talking a little shot glass full or less. It doesn't take a lot. Oh yeah, I think I've heard that somewhere. Yeah, yeah, I think I have too. Maybe we need to get on the apple cider vinegar. Although vinegar of any type, ooh. But yeah, they sell that at the health food stores. Uh, yeah, might need to get some because we are. I mean, let's face it, we are being herded like sheep uh, to the pharmaceuticals. I think that has come on everybody's radar because after the pandemic, and uh, I think they're seeing that we're over medicated and that our food is bad with a lot of preservatives and things. There's an ingredient in chips that it is benign, neutral, but your body converts it to formaldehyde after you eat it. So how is that good for you? It may be legal to use, but is it good for you? Is it benefit? No, it's a shortcut. A lot of people have said that about fluoride and toothpaste for a long time. Apple cider vinegar is supposed to help with all kinds of things. Absolutely support your immune system and everything. Best and your gut health is your health. You got a bad gut and everything else is going to fall apart. And all pain is linked to inflammation. There's things you can do dietary wise. And I think that's where we should approach this with herbs, dietary. There's homeopathic remedies that will work better for us than medicine. And a lot of vitamins are kind of, and especially as we get older, are insoluble. That means you can take them, but how much benefit is your body actually extracting from that? You've got to feed your body right, your gut health, to be able to extract the maximum amount of the nutrients out of what you take. And that includes vitamins or food. Uh, the best kind is the raw apple cider. I mean, that's with the little bit of pulp in it too, right? Maybe a little residue at the bottom of the jar. And the SCOBY still in it. What's SCOBY? Is that the pulp? What's SCOBY? That's a new term. Now I've got him going, hopefully, to tell us what SCOBY is. I'm dense. I don't know. But yeah, I've seen that apple vinegar in vitamin stores and, you know, GNC stores and Jonesboro Health Food Store and where I used to go. And yeah. And then there's the biome type stuff that you can take too for your gut. You're right. But now it's kind of expensive. Last time I priced it, which is years ago, decades ago, actually, was like $50 something, you know, and who can maintain that? SCOBY, symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. At least that's the mother in vinegar. Okay. Kombucha. I definitely need to plant a bigger garden next year to get more fresh food in the house. Yeah. Yeah. And a big part of that, though, is your herbs, you know, and finding out what they are. Basil and thyme and stuff like that is cinnamon, ginger root, you know, invaluable, you know, carrots, whatever. I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, with the pesticides and, you know, and then the stuff, the synthetic, you know, some of the alarming stuff that I've 3D printed food and fake meat and stuff. Oh God, we've really got to watch this. I hope they really, I think Kennedy and Truman, I hope they really Trump uh attack this food crisis more so than some other things, because really these corporations are killing us. We'd probably be better off with soy and green in our diet. I'm not advocating cannibalism, but they put some real junk in our food and ultra processed foods. You know, we need to get more, and I think more people are cognizant of that. And I think a lot of that started decades ago with the bodybuilding and the sort of be health fitness movement and stuff. You know, so there's been but not necessarily your organic groceries are the best option either. There's even some crap that has been detected in, and I hate going around not being able to trust what you buy at a store and paranoid about what you're taking in and stuff. It should be a get, but look, we live in a fallen state. We are in a spiritual warfare, and the enemy is trying to kill us. That's my worldview anyway. And so I don't expect other people to do the right thing, especially evil people. And there are evil people. We hear about them on the news all the time. Fermented black tea. Yeah. See, I need to do that. I think I might even have some black tea that I bought this year. I guess I could say all the drink mixes and stuff is kind of the survival thing that I bought for myself this year. Looks like a mushroom growing on the top as it ferments. Seed oils need to be removed. That stuff is in everything. Yeah. 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 And why they put that crap in there, I don't know. Shortcut. They're cheap. I don't know. But yeah, that stuff, if they find out it's not good for you. The food pyramid just a few years ago debunked. Food pyramid was highly commercialized. A lot of that stuff was not, and they were saying this is your way to health. And it turns out it wasn't. Kind of like the Great Society over 50 years ago by LBJ. It was just to keep the minorities down. He was a flaming racist, you know, and yet people still embracing that on the left, brainwashed. Wake up. I'm a big proponent if you educate people that and especially instill critical thinking. And I wasn't, and I'm not saying even in my own life that a lot of people have taught that to me at all. That's just something that, if nothing else, when thinking about scripture and the Bible, talking about a discerning heart and discerning mind, that's probably taught me more than anything. And that and some college that, critical thinking. But as far as taking a critical thinking class, how to critically discern things and question things and arrive at a conclusion, no. And most people, that's lost totally. They haven't got a clue. They're vacant. They're not home. Hello, when it comes to, and I think, things like the Charlie Kirk assassination recently have woke some people up. And I think other things that have been just kind of cascading, that the left has been radicalized so hard and just like that steering wheel on my truck, just in one direction all the time. Just you're fighting it all the time. And people get tired of fighting that. That's why they snap back to the other thing, and the pendulum swung now. And they're just like, whoa, and trying to make this defund the government thing, uh, um, a health care issue. They're complaining, if you think about it, Obamacare. Obamacare is still in play. Yeah, it's crap. So don't talk to me, and people are seeing through that now. They've cried racism for so long, and some of these things they've tried on the public so many times, it's not working anymore. Yeah, screw you. Oh, so tired of this crap. And a lot of people are. And I'm glad people are waking up. And I think uh, things like assassination attempts and stuff, nobody wants to go back to the 60s and all that. I'm glad all that stuff was kind of when I was like a very young child and I didn't have to experience all that because nothing, feisty Rex. Yeah. Early in the morning. Oh, Bay at the Moon. We've been getting our meals in bulk from the local butcher when you can too, but it's expensive to drop that much money at once. Absolutely. I mean, what we would do, we had cattle, we would take one and have it slaughtered and eat on it all year. You know, kids, what do you want? I want steak. Well, you eat the steak till it's all gone. Well, we don't have any steak left. What else you want? This is what we got to choose from. Got ground beef. We could make hamburgers, or we could, you know, uh, never ate the beef liver or anything like that. But I mean, the cow hoof, or the nose or the brains. No, but I mean, that's what we would do. We would have a freezer full of a cow for 1 year, and we would work that into meals when we weren't eating anything else, or and my mother was not one to really plan anything out. She didn't enjoy cooking. She did it out of necessity. She actually told me that. Uh, Love that canned beef and gravy. Oh God. And I would eat it today, which is probably not good for you. It's probably why my brain desires it, that over some bread. Oh, look, I'm that roux, that roast with carrots and the floured up potatoes that get like almost pasty glue in the juices, and put that in the crock pot for hours. And that, you can take the roast, you can take the vegetables, you can take all that out, which is great. Fall apart roast. I could eat that once a week, especially the way my mother used to make it. But that roux or that gravy, that oil, that rich, stuff at the bottom with some bread to sop it up, that's a meal in itself. Oh, one of my favorite things on the planet. And yet pizza's my favorite food. That's my favorite kind of snack food, that and grapes. But now meals, give me a good slow cooked roast with the drippings. The drippings are what's the best part. You know what I'm talking about, the drippings. And then bread. It's probably the worst thing for you. All the oils and stuff and the bread. I guess it depends on what. I've kind of went to a sourdough bread for most things, but it's more expensive even to buy that. Yeah, your fermented foods. Oh, good yeast row. If you got a good yeast row with that, oh God, come on. I wish you could buy a quarter to a half cow from local farm, but I have no place for large freezer at my apartment. Well, they make little mini freezers. In fact, I think it was last year, and I'm not even plugged the thing up. I've got little mini fridges too, with the little freezer section, which you can't do much with. And I haven't even taken a couple of those out of the box. I thought it would be cool to have one upstairs for like drinks so that I wouldn't have to go downstairs. I've never even plugged it up. Mr. Procrastination, kind of like now. I'm supposed to be working on sketch cards. I'm supposed to be cleaning, doing my own thing, and yet I'm engaged talking to you, which I'm having fun doing it. Do you have a patio? Yes, I do. Or a balcony. But now, oh, you're asking how dear. We bought a small deep freezer and kept it outside covered with a weatherproof cover. There's an option. I've got a smaller one. It's in my one thing is I need to clean that area and get it up against the wall where the plug-ins are, because the plug-ins are few and far between in this house. Unfortunately, need to have an electrician come in and put in some more plug-ins. But I bought a small fridge and I'm not even used it yet, not even plugged it up yet. It's just been sitting there for probably about 2 years. But I'll get there, and I'll stock away some frozen stuff. My freezer, I think when my sister comes, we're going to make a carrot cake. We could probably make a dozen carrot cakes. I got carrot pulp that I need to use. And it's got ginger and apple and other things that Terry, who passed away. So I've had that up in there. I need to use it up. It's carrot pulp, but it's not only that, it's got ginger and other things. And that would make wonderful carrot cake. I've never made a carrot cake. So, and that's kind of on my bucket list of things that I didn't get to do with my sister growing up. So maybe we'll make a cake. We are going to grill. She's going to bring a couple of New York strips. Yeah. Marinated, and I'll put them on the grill and we'll grill. That's one thing we're going to do. I got my list here somewhere of things that I want to do when my sister comes. Number one is get my phone on the internet, maybe even switch over to the other phone. I don't know. We don't enough room or our freezer and don't have a basement. No, unfortunately, I just have a small front step. Not my apartment is the top floor in a small house. Yeah. Well, little mini fridge, those are fairly affordable. I bought 3 of them. Why 3? Good price, $60 a piece, and I had the money at the time. Had a good job or whatever. Said that's damn cheap. That's a good deal, and they've went up in price since then. Like I bought those totes the other day, which thankfully I did. Big old totes, 5-gallon tote. I've got part of my box collection and drink box collection. I know that's crazy, in one of the totes, and the other one was in that to stop that drip, which I'm stopped using the air upstairs, so that stopped the dripping, so that I don't have to bail out every day until I can get a plumber over here to extend that or something. That was stupid that I didn't have that taken care of years ago. But yeah, I'll get things in order. We'll get things in order. I'll get my mattress out of there. that got wet partially up there on the bed and throw the old one away. And that requires help because I can't pull that big heavy thing up the stairs by myself. Can't do it. It's a big one. It's a thick one. It's like a $1,800 to $1,900 mattress, sort of with memory foam or something, I think, or it looks like that. What type of AC is it? A window unit? It's right above. I don't know. It's a unit that's right above. Um, oh, it's AC. It's AC. It's not a window unit. Yeah, I don't have any window units. In fact, that's one thing I need to work out is the windows are all painted shut in this house. And I definitely need to get this window fixed because if it blows hard enough, rains hard enough, it will blow in the window and get the floor wet. That's only done that once, but that's all it takes, you know, to know that, yeah, that needs to be grouted and whatnot. And I want to get some of this stuff done now before winter sets in. Some of the house repairs that I started with. Of course, I had my chimney I had to have fixed, had the side of the house here fixed. There's still past up in the, squirrels, raccoons, whatever. I don't know. Probably squirrels up in the attic, which is crazy that I haven't done anything like that. But my work schedule is crazy, and you can do very little other. And then this, having channel and now I'm making excuses. I should have done something about it now. And this week, just let me get finished with the job. Next week, I will get all those things in the process of getting done, the major things that need to get done. Need probably every window in the house replaced or at least, broken where you can actually open it up on a cool day like today and not run the AC at all, A window unit? No, it's not. No, it's just, and the wild thing is the unit that the drip pan that must be clogged, and it's just the pipe is just like this coming straight down out of the garage ceiling because I do have an attic space, and the stairs are there in the garage. You fold them down and go up there. There is a unit up there. It clogged once before and dripped or was getting the ceiling a little wet. Why that unit's up in there, I don't know. There's an outside unit too, and maybe it's that unit and the other that controls the top air. I thought it was opposite. I was running it upstairs and not down here, and it was still dripping and dripping more and more and more. So then okay, well, let me test this. I'll turn it off upstairs, which upstairs, heat rises. It's harder to cool down. So I was like, I want to keep that cool. And when I want to go to bed, I want it to be cool. Well, I've stopped that and the heat has subsided. So it's not that big a problem now. And I stopped using it and stopped dripping. So obviously that unit is controlled by the upstairs air. I just stopped using it. I'm down here on this level the majority of the day anyway. And I have a unit behind here, big unit for downstairs. And I'm not trying to, I've got it off right now because it's cool. So my electric bill is going to, till winter sets in, I have to use the heat. And really, I need to change my filters out. That's one thing I need to do. Put that down. Filters. I keep putting it down, and I bought some filters that I might be able to get credit on that I didn't use. He sold me a bill of goods last year. He gave me these expensive ones, and I think the sizes that I had written down were for Mom's house from last time, and I can't use them here. So if I can trade them in and get credit and then get another year's worth of the cheaper brand, then I might come out even and not be out a lot of money. Might even get some money back. I won't do that to them. I'll say, Well, just give me extra, I'll pay the difference, change them out more frequently, whatever. Can you hook up a hose to the drain pipe and route it to a drain? Um, Not really. I mean, somehow I'm going to have to run it outside the house. Probably have to drill a hole in the brick, something, you know, reroute it. I mean, you could, I suppose. I mean, it's just a PVC pipe. Don't know how you'd latch on and it be a tight seal with a hose. But where would I run the hose? I have garage doors that have to shut. I don't have a drain. I don't think there's a drain there in the garage. And the slope was kind of running it toward the side to one of the doors, the pathway the water was taking, least resistance. So apparently it's not just level, slightly, You need fresh air, Rex? Yes, I do. Yeah. Yeah, I need to definitely clean up. I don't know how you would clean the duct system, but the duct system definitely needs to be cleaned. And really, before you engage for winter and start running the heat, I know because mold can start to grow in there, and that's all being blown out into the house. I'm told in duct systems. And yeah, I'm here most of the time. So yeah, I'm breathing this cycled air, so yeah, I need to work on the air situation. Definitely. AC units usually drain outside. There is a drainage. That is weird. There is a drainage there, but I think that is the thing that goes to the drip pan, and the drip pan's obviously getting too full, and the runoff is dropping straight. They put the pipe just straight down where it would just drip straight down, thinking probably only cars were going to be in there. I don't know. Why would you want that dripping on your car? It's weird. It's got two like drip things, so it probably just needs to get unclogged, but it definitely needs to be rerouted to where that will never happen again. But there is one that runs outside, and it does come through the brick, from that unit. So there is an outside drain, but and I'm not saying that it's not, I haven't checked it to see when I run it because I'm not running it now, but I believe it was staying wet there and moss kind of growing there or whatever, because that's general an area where most thing doesn't, but there's constant runoff of that because I am one to run units. But yeah, this is just, I think, an overflow plan. That seems, I'm speculation, but that seemed to be the problem next time. And who knows if I've got squirrels up there, they might be using that as a water source too. I think from the noises I'm hearing, they're probably storing up nuts for the winter and stuff. That may be a disaster up there. I don't know. But the thing of it is, I got to get pest control. I've got to get the garage cleaned out right there where they can get up there and that ladder needs to be repaired too. It's kind of broke a little bit, needs a bracket drilled into it and whatnot. Marv, have a great weekend, everyone. On my break, take care. A weekend? Maybe week. It's not. Oh well, I guess the weekend is coming up. It is Friday. You're right. Yeah. Unfortunately, I had to work today. So, well, fortunately, I want that on my paycheck. I already got 10 hours, roughly, in this week. So that's pretty good for end of the season. It's okay. Maybe a couple nights spraying. I wish we were spraying. Mosquitoes have kind of been having a resurge. Of course, we've had some rains lately, and now that it's cooler, you're seeing more of them come out than in the heat of the summer. I really thought it was going to be a bang up year for mosquitoes and thick as molasses. and yet they did a lot more aerial spraying. And see, I don't have any control over that whatsoever, so they kind of cut us out of some work, and I was off like $2,000. Well, that was money that I was going to use for other things, Devil Flyer and other things, right? I still got a logo to get made for my next project, and other things. Maybe it's try cleaning the unit out. It might solve the dripping and would probably run more efficiently like a cleaning too. Absolutely. Yeah, I'll get somebody out here for all this stuff, you know. Uh, but the Eve was damaged in a windstorm, and created where they could get in to begin with. That has to be fixed in conjunction with the pest control people, because if you don't shut off where they can come in, even if you get rid of them, they're going to come back in. So I've got to do both things simultaneously. I got to seal it off, and you don't want to seal it off and not call pest control to get them out, because they'll die in there. You don't want that. So kind of got to do it simultaneously. But I will see about the construction people coming out, somebody to do that first, because they could survive up there and with that drip pan that they can probably get to, they'd have water, and then the nuts or whatever they'd have food for a few days, or they could live off body fat for a little while, before pest control got them out of there. So, I definitely need to do the construction thing first. The scaffolding is still up there on the side of the building, has been all year. The main guy that was over that crew died, passed away. He wasn't in great health when he did my chimney, when that storm came through, and 2 branches, one fell on the roof, didn't hurt it. Another one, the biggest branch fell on top of my fireplace, but that brick supported it. It's lucky it didn't hit on the roof. Could have done some damage to the roof over the den area, which used to be, I think, the original garage, and then they kind of enclosed it, and then built a garage on the side, and then built on the back of that, because they got a little tool area, and then behind that they got like an underground room for like storms that's totally enclosed, and they got more of a little work area back there, and it has a little wall heater, little electric wall heater built into the wall. Air, it doesn't have any air though. So during this, I don't use it a lot, because I'd use it more for storage than anything. But even that needs to be, all my storage areas and the whole place needs to be organized. If I got it organized, I'd probably have room to spare, because I've not used my rooms that I have, or my storage shed, to its maximum efficiency. If I did that, I would probably have a lot more room for a lot more stuff, if that was the desired thing. It's not really the desired thing, but I being a collector, add some, all the time. So it's just the problem that keeps growing and growing and growing. Too much stuff. Need to get rid of some stuff. Well, it's 5 a.m. here, Mrs. G said. I'm going to get my day going. Have a great weekend, and hope you all have healthy guts and stay organized. Absolutely. Yeah. And efficient bowel movements. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of work on this, at least get his hair inked in on this Storm Rider. There we go. We can put these back. So quite the stack that I've done already. I don't know how many. I guess we could take a count. I haven't counted recently. How many? I need 70. I need over 73. I mean, I have 73 backers, but I've got some people that I've on the last campaign, the Ash Can campaign, and I know I'm over halfway there. Last time I counted, I think I had like 36 done. So it may be approaching 40. Let's say 42. Wait a minute. 2, 3, 4. I think I've got these out of order a little bit. I've been trying to keep them in order that I did them. Forty-eight. 48 completed sketch cards. Not too bad. Been going to town. And I've got to start on some, and I've organized some with the sort of head sketch reference, because I've got to have reference for some of these characters, right? Especially if they've got intricate designs. So I put the card with the reference. I've done that. Got a pile. I've signed all of them, pre-signed all of them, put the artist name and sign them. And when I have a name to the character, I put that on there. The only thing I don't do is date it. So the ones that I'll be working on here pretty soon will be this guy, which is going to be made one of the 43 created. He's one of the older ones that I'm rolling into the 43. Kind of gives him a purpose and an identity and a backstory already built in. So why not? Because I've not developed any of that with the character. I just kind of developed the the character's look. Created him back in 2008, along with this one here, this character here. I created a lot of characters back in 2008. Took time out of my life, 3 months worth of nothing but creating characters. Yeah, this spider-like creature character, created him back in 2008, along with that character. Cortex, living brain in an android body, be doing him. The clown that goes up against Bog, clown killer. A lot of people say killer clown, whatever. A character I didn't create, a friend of mine created, but Dr. Spike. I'm sure this probably looks a little different than his. I'm kind of going by memory, but he's cool. Human grenade explodes and reforms, sort of a World War II Japanese experiment, but he's Japanese American. Could be Chinese, however you want to write him. Dead Ninja. Still got to do him, one of Apex's favorites. A new character that I created. Haven't made him one of the 43. Don't plan to. Aftershock. Sort of Quake Master type powers, Aftershock. There's Shadow's Kiss, one of my female characters. Ninja like. Got to do her. Total Mystery. The one Mrs. G was talking about. And that's just a placeholder name. Total Mystery. TM. And I did put TM/Total Mystery on here for the character. He's going to be a cool character. People are going to like him. The director, he's a baddie. He's seen on the Devil Flyer Virgin Wraparound Jimmy Reyes cover. And he's alluded to in a couple of the stories, in the Innerman story and the Devil Flyer story. Twice in the Devil Flyer story. Modern Day Mummy, I really have not settled on a look for Modern Day Mummy yet. I don't want him so mummy looking here. That was never the plan. I wanted him to look like a mummy, but kind of like the living mummy, for Marvel. One of my cosmic characters, like the Bystander, still got to do the Bystander too. The Seer, Doc Blaylock's drawn her. John Dillard's drawn her. Sand Devil, kind of like Sandman's powers. Part of the Skull Squad of the 40s. Harbinger. And that's it. There's a whole stack left of others, but now these is on my short list to do. Put that with this and take these in there. Let me do Storm Rider's hair a little bit here and do my thing. Where's my backing board? There it is. And like I say, pretty soon I don't know that there's any need to go out to buy a clamp device, a tripod, this, that, or other. I'm sure that I could probably set up something here that my camera can clip on and look down on, maybe a swinging arm type thing would be the thing to do. I'll look into that to where, I could put it like here, even if I held it, the camera's going to, and you can see me doing what I'm doing. Storm Rider is sort of a supercharged character, and he will be in that story, or I have plans to have him in the story. I'm not going to draw the story. I always kind of had John Dillard in mind for it. I don't know. I haven't heard from John. He did try and contact me. He's supposed, I paid him for a 2-page spread. He's busy doing some other things. I'm sure he'll get back with me when he can. Maybe he just hasn't seen the note yet, on X where I was responding to him. How I didn't see that, I do not know. Tell you the truth. But Storm Rider is a supercharged character, and he will be in the story. He lives a very long time. That's how I introduced Storm Rider as a character to everybody. He's an old man. He's in like a hover chair. Is kind of what I have in mind. Something instead of a motorcycle. He's got cybernetic implants that help him. Nanites and stuff for the future have been medical nanites and stuff. And he's sort of a superpowered, supercharged individual. Hence, he lives a long time to be an old man. This is toward the end of his life that I introduce. I like the ideal, of introducing characters later on in their careers, kind of like a Dark Knight with Batman, what they did with him, or the Batman Beyond, which was kind of a continuation on the same theme there. Using a 0.1, so very small detail. Getting down his hair little and lightning sort of glow around his eyes. I do want to make, kind of indicate penciled in these lightning arcs, but I want to make them thinner. I made them quite thick here, and I want to make them thinner than what I initially drew. Look more like lightning, I think, if they're not chunky. You got to have a motorcycle character, and I'm glad to have created or kind of made that kind of a back story for Hell Rider, because motorcycles are cool, just a lot of certain. So maybe Hell Rider can become a fool and he is one of the 43, and he is kind of like a firebug type thing, and so he could probably, like Ghost Rider, create like a Hellfire bike. How cool would that be? So you got lightning type bike going up against a fire bike. How cool is that? Man, I would love just to, you know, kind of do what Omer's doing and just draw all the time. But there's just more that it has to be done. I'm creating a whole universe here, and I just can't sit down and draw completely all the time. Um, but now I am going to ramp it up. I am going to ramp it up, uh, and do some sequential stories and pages, especially developing some of these characters that I think really have potential and establish the baddies. And, you know, still thinking about the Shadow Kiss story. If I want to go with this other character that's more of a concept right now for a future story, that's going to be like one of those long running, when mystery type characters. Um, just doesn't all happen overnight. Put some thought to it. And I do want to do my best work. Uh, as I said earlier, I think that's one of the things that I kind of like about the concept of the CG type movement of years past is that I'm not on a monthly schedule. I can do my best work. It's going to take more time, but it's going to be well worth the experience because you're going to see some mind blowing stuff. And I think with like, I'm wanting to get into some trippy Steve Ditko type uh, stories and with multiple characters like Euphoria. I think I could tell an awesome Euphoria story, you know, where the character and get into their mind and their psychology, you know, with maybe some flashback scenes, you know, of when she was in Nazi Germany. And even for the flashback scenes, I might even get another artist to do it just to break type even more artistically. I'm not opposed to that, of collaborating with another artist and I drawing some of the pages and then maybe drawing some of the flashback scenes, you know, different style of artwork, but one story. Variety. The spice of life, I'm told. I want to do things differently than what other creators are doing. I want to take Fanta's advice and you do you, boo. I want to do it my way because I've only got one shot at it, right? And if not today, when? If not today, when? When? You know, the sun may go up and the sun may go down. I've said this for years, but it's all one long day if you think about it. Time is a construct of man. Eternity is a construct of, in the way this universe and everything. Is there a beginning and ending and thing? Yes, because we're in a time of entropy where things have a season and an end. But even Einstein says as close as you get to the speed of light, you reach eternity. Basically, he didn't put it that way. But if time stands still and time is not a factor, an aging process stops, isn't that eternity? Of course, you got to maintain that speed. So, yeah, maybe heaven's on a different vibratory field. It's going to be a trip. Staying on type, staying on brand, you know, these are all considerations uh, with these characters. But even this, even these sketch cards that I've been working on has had the creative process of created new exciting characters, some that go, oh, that would go great with this story. Cause I'm thinking of multiple stories, you know, down the line and how I can introduce these characters and what's going to be the most dramatic way to tell them, you know, um, like I, and some things occur to me, like I say, very late in the process, but I've got time. I've got time. Uh, you know, uh, the way things are going, I've got a good trajectory and I just have to give, it a little bit more thought and it'll all come. It's getting easier. But I've, drawn sometimes for the very first time, sometimes the second time, third time. The more you do these things, you get more, a new Smolder redesign for him because I'm going to need, and this is kind of on the mark of kind of what, I'd like Smolder to look. Other designs for him, it's just kind of missed the mark a little bit. You know, and that I'm not saying that's the final design. I'll probably still work on it and tweak it a little bit. Who's Smolder? Smolder's going to go up against um, Devil Flyer in the next Devil Flyer story. He's also going to encounter the Inner Man, and then the Inner Man story will be much larger in the next one because he only gets 2 pages in this one, and hopefully John Dillard can continue to draw that, and it's more of a lengthy story that I already had thumbnailed out and drawn out. In fact, well, I don't have it thumbnailed out. I've actually got it written out for that story. I sat down and I wrote that like in one evening, and I had to, or a couple evenings, I had to stop because I said, I don't know how much room I've got to pace out. I probably should have just kept going to the conclusion because that could be more than one issue. But now, see, if Inner Man goes into Devil Flyer, nothing says I have to kill Inner Man just because he's been rolled in. He's made an appearance. But it might be, because that's the thing, to roll these characters into the Devil Flyer story and then do away with the backup story, giving more room for the Devil Flyer story. But the Devil Flyer story initially was done to be published by itself, and it was taking up too much room, hence the prequel. And it necessitated being magazine size. Do I keep it magazine size, or do I go to a smaller size? I would be happy with going to a Golden Age size, but most people cannot house a Golden Age in their collection. They're not set up for it. They don't have the box. They don't have replacement boards and bags that they buy all the time. Some people aren't even set up for moderns. All they got, they're not even set up for Silver Age, which I think you should put everything in a Silver Age bag and give yourself some room, unless it's a smaller digest thing, and then you go to normal size board and bags. That's the only reason I'd buy them. Or like to put something in to ship it with, blah, blah, blah. All right, get his mouth inked here, and then I can think about. Doing some color on it. Let this ink dry and erase it with my eraser, which my eraser's in there. The one that I like to use. Strengthen those lines. And I'm not saying I'm done with this hair, but I may use the coloring to inform, what I want to ink. Anyway, there, he's almost done. I need to erase and then color him in. I don't know if that's focusing or not. Apologize. There we go. I think that's getting there. Hey, Mr. G. Need to get my grays, not only for him, but this one here on the background. I want to gray this out a little bit more. This is a kind of a cool gray that I've used for, and then I went in with a darker gray for the eyes and just a few shadows here and down here, coloring the logo a little bit. Golden Age Silver Boa. And then I don't want to use a lot of inked stuff on his face. Want to use it more like an energy Kirby Crackle type thing, but I didn't want to rush that either. I might even look for reference for the crackle part to even, maybe even suggest a face. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it. So it's like, okay, I got it set up. I got the area that I want to work on, got the background, the cloak. Now I just have to work out, okay, what face, because I've only done like a little thumbnail with the concept of it, and I'm not giving it more thought. So I don't want to rush it. I want to give it, establish the character. This is the first time drawing him, besides that quick little, jot down. He's going to be a good character, though. and he might be in that Geo story. I just don't know. I was thinking about it though. Just thinking about it. I will get back and finish those Geo pages and the Bog story that I'm working on. Just let me get through today, working at work, and then we'll see how sore I am. Hopefully, not having to put that backpack on and just working a few hours today, doing some cleanup, washing, nothing strenuous. Uh, you know, you already got the 4 o'clock shadow for the Joe Kubert Future Friday. And then I've got Saturdays already set up as well. I had a good title for that and set it up. And in this stream, I think I could do one more and people get notified. Did you all get notified? How dear, did you get notified about this stream? I wonder about that. If you set too many up in one day, you won't get notifications. I think your limit's 3. Only did 2, this stream and Saturday stream. I will be hosting the next, speaking of Saturday, I will be hosting the next Rex X and Apex in November. And that is on the 1st of November. So that is not far away. Not too far away. We are doing Rex X and Apex show only once a month now. And it could be we try and shoot for the first Saturday, but like Hex couldn't line up a guest. And I'm like, we could do a show all by ourselves talking about our campaigns, what we've been working on, whatever we want to talk about without having a guest on. But they want to have guests on. So it's like if we want to have guests on, that's fine. But, he couldn't line one up. It's like, so we had a second Saturday when Hex did it. Didn't get a notification. I just checked my subscriptions and saw that you were live. Okay. Maybe I went live. Once you set it up and you go live immediately, it's like you may not get a notification. I think that's something that hurts sometimes. Let me go get that eraser in there. I do have most of my inking things already here. I want to strengthen some of these lines, of course. But I want to get my eraser. I don't have a lot of, the erasers I have in here, and I've got one blue eraser. I need to find another blue eraser because I like it. It seems to be a little bit more porous. I think this is a little bit more porous than or it's about the same as the pink pearl erasers. The blue one came in. Don't ask me why. Maybe it's just psychological, but it seems like the blue one does not smear it, does not smudge it like these others are doing. I don't know why that is. These cards are very nice to work on. She did a great bang up job on it. I was wondering what she prints them on. Will it be good quality to draw on? Yes, it is. And I'm very pleased with it. So I will mute myself and so that you don't hear ambient noise, and I will be right back. No, this isn't a chair stream. Erase my pencil lines here. Anything that didn't get inked over, especially up in the hair. The lightning I made thicker. I decided to move those trade paperbacks out of the way. That way I can stretch out finally, now that I've cleaned this area below here, it's very hard to sit here for a long time if you don't like put your feet out sometimes, so. That's cold, but that's the last drink of it, really. And it was only lukewarm when I started because I made it so long ago. This that was given to me for my birthday by Katie last year, has used it a lot. Keeps beverages warm for a while, or cold. I really haven't tried cold stuff. I've done nothing but drink coffee in it. Oh, there's so many characters like Storm Rider. That need to be developed. They're cool characters, but how do you devote enough time to some of these characters when you have that many? They all need developed. Some degree. Looking good, as they say, looking good. Kind of fix that eye a little bit. Your nibs don't always. Oh God! What I do with that? 99% of making a good drawing is covering up your mistakes seamlessly. It seems like. So I present to you, Storm Rider. And one lucky backer will get this one. If this is one of the ones that I select to do that, everybody will get a different character. It would be maddening to me to do 70 plus, let's say by the end of the campaign, 100 devil flyers, to he's kind of a character that I created that I was excited that I handed off to, but that doesn't mean I wanted to draw him all the time. In fact, if he's going to be the flagship character, it should be a rare special thing when I do draw him and sign it and give it to somebody, or sell it to somebody, because he, should be an in-demand character and rarely drawn by the artist, a rare treat indeed. Okay. This is something I ink with too. That's very inexpensive. I think I paid $3 and something for it at Hobby Lobby. Thought I'd give it a try. Actually, it's worked out pretty good. Good for signing things, of course, but good for inking too. Just strengthening some of those lines there. Now the color process, the coloring. Like I said, this has been a really good set, dual-ended alcohol markers. And when I get that larger set that Carrie's helping me buy, and I need to make a note of that, online and buy that. I'm going to do something special with that marker set. But now this one here has been good for flatting. They're supposed to be like pastel colors. Good for a light wash, and then you can go over with a darker color. Let's see. Black Storm Rider is one of those characters. It seemed like there for a couple years, and I still continue to do it because this guy here is kind of a black like character. Although I went, well, it could be gray, a darker gray cloak. So I didn't totally make him black, but I could give him black cloak. But I think gray's sufficient, for that character. But he's kind of like those from head to toe black characters. TM's all dressed in black. Midnight is supposed to be dressed in black, although I've kind of got a blue in mind for her too, for her costume. But she was first conceived as an all black dressed character. So I don't know what it is, but been creating characters like that for the last few years where these all dressed in black characters, and quite diverse characters, Midnight being a West character. You got a biker here. TM is what he's going to turn out to be. Badass sort of Ronin character. Ronin as in Hawkeye Ronin from the new Avengers. You're going to really like him. Promise. So I guess better put the lightning in there, and then that'll inform the other. So the lightning's going to be yellowish, right? His costume is going to be black, so that's nice, contrasty. The background, I have to keep that in mind. Maybe definitely a warm raw silk. That's kind of nice. That's been a nice one. Raw silk. Kind of a light orange. I don't know. I'll just lay in the background first. Need just a light color. pastel set's been invaluable on these sketch cards. Having fun figuring out what to color the logo to. That's nice. Smaller pieces are great for me because I'm kind of slow. I like to sort of think about things slow and plotting. Trying to rush things and be mechanical at all. Been a process up to now and it will continue to build my universe of characters, but it's we've come a long way. We've come a long way in doing that. And around this hair here, it's just quite fine, which is kind of like a lightning hair. Or I woke up on the wrong side of the bed hair. There you go. Background put in, and that better informs what's going on. Nice color, huh? When you want the background to be the background, you want the stronger colors and the design to pop, you know. It doesn't take much. Just looked a little bit light there, so maybe I'll do that area just a little bit more in the background. I could go over it again and make it even darker, but I don't think that's necessary. I am limited on certain colors, so that's something I need to do is take an evaluation of colors, but I'll wait till I get that new set in. And when I get that new set in, what I'm going to do is kind of show you what's in it, group it all together, and got the money, I'll go for the big bundle, you know, the 120, 225 or whatever. Even larger than the set that, you know, for $80. Depends on price point, you know. But yeah, I need a wide range, especially if I'm going to be working like I am. And I uh, do want to continue the color stuff because the more I can color traditionally, maybe, you know, it is on my bucket list to do a color comic for everybody. Although I enjoy the black and white, I really do. You know, Devil Flyer is going to be a mixture. As far as the printers are concerned, even though the majority of it's going to be in black and white, uh, there are color elements in it that make it a quote color comic. They treat it as a color comic uh, because there's a little bit of color in it, and that's sad in kind of one regard, really. Backing boards are great for doing like little cast of color on too. think I want to kind of extend that lightning down into the line that goes around the logo, the arcing line. It just makes some indications of maybe, Momentum Comics with lightning around it, some scribble there. Indicate with yellow and let's break that up. I'm going to let that dry though before I go over it. Don't let it give it enough time to dry. It's going to smear. So what I want to do with the hair is show some of the yellow in the front, but then on the edges, to give some depth to it, I want to put the color in the front, and then around the edges will just be white. So only partially colored. And for that, I want to actually do the chisel point. And some of these with the Walmart brand, the chisel wants to kind of come out. So you have to like put it back in there. I don't know why that is. Maybe with the taking off of the cap, although, you wouldn't think it would make contact. And I did leave little areas on the top of the mask that goes up to here, and then just kind of shows his hair up, and over. I kind of did that with the penciling and the inking. For little white areas to come down in the black mask. So that's kind of what I'm talking about, and then I'll intensify that with another color. I don't know if that looks good or not. Maybe a lighter yellow, gradation there. It's too early to tell. So color test. Black costumes are kind of tricky. Right. I want his eyes to stand out from the glow, so a little pastel peach for the eyes, which is pretty close to that background color. And maybe a little in front on the hair. Just over that yellow is going to make it a little bit more orange. The first coloring of this cut character, really, a lot of these I've just drawn in black and white. And there could be different, I could go blue with it, blue arcing type, a light blue. I don't know. Darker hair indicated. But now if I put the blue and the yellow, that's going to make green, so that's not going to be good. Could go more magenta, with the. I don't think I have a good selection of yellows, to tell you the truth. And usually it's on the lighter side of yellow. Be able to intensify that some more with his hair with the orange, kind of orange yellow. It's I don't know, it's orangey type yellow. Just says orange, but it's more of like you call it almost like a stop sign yellow. And that might be good for the shadow of his eyes or the outline of his eyes. A little bit. The lighter part in the middle for like a glow. That's a good thing about, digital, is you can get those lighting effects and stuff that really hard to achieve or impossible with traditional. I mean, not impossible, but skin tone, very important. Skin tone. Maybe a tan, a light tan. Let's see. Color test. Coloring. See, that one's poking out too. See. So I want to take a hard surface and just push on it gently and get it back in there. I don't know why it wants to come out. It's a tan. Okay. And all I have is this bottom of his face to color. And at some point I'll put stubble on his chin and stuff, like he hasn't shaved for a few days, right? Sometimes that's I'm gonna put that kind of slipped out that skin tone over the background, intensified it, and I kinda like it. Kinda went out the line there. That's a happy accident that happens too. I think it'll make his hair pop more too. Needs a little bit more darker in the background anyway. What I get for using a chisel point around a little fine area. I get greatness. Something wonderful going on. The storm riders that I did two of them for head sketches. We're in black and white. This is the first time I'm coloring this character. Coloring's an all new, you know, a different discipline altogether. I had to clock in at 8 o'clock. 3 hours. I had to count on my fingers. Yes, I count on my fingers and toes. Well, maybe not my toes. I don't really see him as a blonde character. I see him as having dark hair when he's not like powered up. Teeth, a little light blue on the teeth, you know, little shade. That again, when you just need a little hint of color, these pastel, this is kind of intense. It doesn't take much of it though. And I did go over the tan a little bit with it. There. Hope that looks quite right or not, but blue teeth. You got blue teeth. Leave a little white in there. It's fine. Once I get everything, it's good. I think this one here is splitting on me. The one that I've been autographing with, which I can use that too. I think the nib is kind of split where it doesn't, it gives me a twin line, which, you know, you can use that for inking when you don't want the whole thing inked, of course. I don't know if it's quite split or not. It appeared like it was. Now it's not doing that, so I don't know. The skunk. We'll be using some grays. On that black area of his costume for highlights. You do it totally black, you don't have any detail, right? Start off with the lightest gray as I can, and can always go over it again and again and darken it. Probably get away with Superman blue, just something cool color. Little specks of white that I left in the black areas. I'll gray them out so it's not like solid black. It's got some character to it. I think I'll even just for his bottom of his neck there and shoulder, I'll just gray it out and then I'll work the black into that. So just go ahead and color that black. Mhm. Hopefully it'll focus. Focus, damn it. Focus. 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 There we go. Hey, there we go. I think. Oh, come on now. I'll put a little gray over that yellow and that bomb in Momentum Concepts. Gray the bomb out, you know. Sometimes you have to, with these light colors, you have to let them dry to see if they're going to dry darker, lighter. You have to be patient. Almost missed his nose, graying his nose out. Do that too. I always set, the colors that I'm using, I set them off to the side. That way, in my potato can here. And what color was that? And I got to find it again because I put it away. No, I don't want to do that. Got to keep it handy. Handy. My magic wand. You are a toad today. Have a great day. Not a toad. Little drop shadow always is nice. Maybe I'll do a little drop shadow here too on that background just to add some depth to it and pop out more. And maybe light swatch over the eyes, top of the eye, just to add a little shadow. With the light gray like this, even with that blue on his teeth, kill that blue a little bit. Put the teeth in shadow. So really all I had to do is like the eye glow. Looks like, you know, an option. I could use it. Really, he doesn't have a gray costume. He's got a black costume. So it's like, okay, now how I've got to think about, all right, how do I want to do that? Or do I want to leave it gray? You know, and lose that detailing, or I've got to think, okay, light, dark areas. Um, have to think through this because it's the first time of him being colored. I think I almost want to do like a blue, you know, with all these warm colors, and then that would go good with the gray. A light blue glow. Great thing about having different sets, you know, you can have different colors, different. And I don't know if that's giving me a truth, so let me go over here and do that. And it's, I like the teeth. It's light blue, but it may be more intense than what I want. Of course, I don't have to color in the whole thing either, the whole space. Some of the unfinished areas are some of the most interesting, like negative space, is, you know, to me, it's just as important or more important, you know, just as important. Let's try this blue. Probably going to be too dark for my purposes too. That, oh God, yeah. That's, I like that blue though. The blue I could use over the gray, the light gray, for shadow, you know. Use use sparingly. I could can also cover up that tan mistake going off on the chin there into that area. Like I said, 99% of it is how do you, how efficiently do you cover up your mistakes? Some more layering, like this blue doesn't want to lay down over that gray that well, but I just want a little bit indication there. So pop it now, huh? Be crack-a-lacking. My camera. Ah! Get me out of here. Tonight, tonight, tonight. Mm. Mm-hmm. Now I'm in too deep. All right, I think I am going to go the magenta route, the pink route, the intense color route with the eye glow. Comic Book Logic. Correct a little of that glow in his skin tone. Maybe a little smattering of it, just small indication in the background. So we're dealing with light here, not just color, right? Maybe even on the tips of his hair. And that kind of helps tie it all together as well. Maybe since I put that gray in there, maybe a little pupil for his eye, but very not, you know. And let's see here. Yeah, some radical. Like that color going on there. And I believe we could call this one radically done. What do you think? Was it a success? If I can get it to focus. Move it! There we go. Come on. It'd be crack-a-lackin'. It'd be popping. If you could see it. Hell. Hey, it's only a sketch card. Right. Okay. So that's what? Like, I lost count. Was that 40? It's pretty close, you know. So, you know, a little over 30 more, 40 more, and I'll be done. You know. No, I won't stop there, believe me. Come on. Focus. Focus. Focus power. I went with gel pens on the silver boa, but now the golden age silver boa. I've already went alcohol markers on the back and the on the some of the shadow. I have to figure out what I'm going to do there. Grays, you know, light grays and stuff can look like silver effectively. Come on. There. I don't like very much finishing silver boa. I did get this gray set of alcohol markers that were grays. I have had that. A lot of these are darker. You know, I've kind of scattered them. I don't know. Not sure about a color though, always, or even how much juice you have left in one. You know, always test it. In these sets, the colors seem to be intense and uh, not that many grays. A lot you can do with grays, though. Of course, that silver could kind of have like a little blue sheen to it too, but we want to stick with the grays. I think that was a warm gray that I used. Could have been cold gray. That curious. Looks pretty dark. Oh yeah. Well, that might be it right there. It's kind of a browny dark, gray. Just looking it over, I kind of wanted to make it. And this may not. This may be a little. I think that's a little darker gray than the actual thing was, but it's fine. It's pretty close. I wanted that to be a darker area anyway, shadow area. And it almost looks like a wash the way I went over it, the first for the background. But glad I've worked out the, diamond design for his mask that gets it away from grifter and breaks that up, and it's more like chainmail on some of the old knights, you know, from centuries past. And he might even have a net design, like a gladiator's type net, to snare people with. Or if you get hit by that and it's made out of metal, even though it's a metal net can hurt, can really hurt. Subdue someone. Let's see. I'm gonna try some of these grays and see if I can't, do that'll make him different from the modern day a little bit more. I don't know that I wanted to go the same gel pen route that I did with him. We'll see. Won't know till you try. It's not the end of the world if you fail. You can always do another. Got more coming. Wasn't totally happy with this, but the gels. Don't know how that's going to reproduce either, you know. Silver boa was the fourth card I did, the fourth card. So I got the modern day silver boa fairly quickly. Golden age, he's like 40th. So it's dark, and I got my grays out. All right, a little test thing here. Maybe what I'm looking for right off the bat. And one reason is it's kind of drying up. Let's try this other tip. Yeah. Maybe some of these grays with silver highlight. Wait till these characters get into stories and swing into action. You're like, wow. Yeah. Pretty cool stuff. I know I will be. I'll be a kid in a candy shop. Let's see what else I got here. It's quite dark. Kind of going over the cheekbones with the male was kind of a mistake. I did it on that one side. I said, well, I got to match it now. You know, I might. Didn't really mean to do that, but it works. It's okay. All right, let's did I try this one? I can't remember which one I tried. It's either that one or this one. It's the dark one. Come over to the dark side of the force. Ooh, that one's really dark. All right. Well, maybe I want to put in just a little bit of that, even make that drop shadow even more. Bring up mistakes. Oh, damn. Okay, double down on stupid, sure. It's going to be a darker piece than what I expected. Nope. Signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours. I present to you the original silver boa. Way too dark with him. Maybe I'll go in with, I think he's done, but for this one, but could go in with some silver highlights or even some Jelly Roll white, you know. Mr. Happy kind of got done on that one. Kind of strange. Still got to do this guy here. Energy. He's going to be fun. But I really need to draw some more. And make myself another cup of coffee. And put those trade paperbacks up. So while I'm doing that, and I think this has been a pretty good stream anyway. Always put your markers up, right? Put them back in order. Looking forward to getting the season done this year. Hopefully next year will be even a better year. This has been the weirdest year. Weirdest year. You know, that's I guess the excitement somewhat of it is you don't know what the season's going to look like by the end of it. Really don't. Set my big full right here. I've got some master touches that aren't azure, and they're kind of mixed in with the others. They're actually a little shorter looking at them with this set than these azure ones that you get at Walmart. A little bit, just slightly shorter in stature when you put them in there along with the others. Only thing I don't like about these grays is they're water soluble. And then, of course, I have these square ones, which are like much like the Omer Glitch larger thing that he bought. Not bad for $5 at Five and Below. I've gotten a lot of use that. In fact, I started with those. That was one that I started with before I got the Azures. That and when I started working in color, I really did not, think that I would do this much color stuff as I've done in the past 4 or 5 months. Everything's been done in color, just about. I've been watching some of The Expanse, and it's really, really sort of heating up in season 3. Has been really good. Started heating up in season 2. By the time it hit, and it's not really let off the pedal. Season 3 dealing with the ring. I don't know what all that's totally about. They've entered the ring. Finding out about that. It's not a wormhole, but that's where I'm at with it now. Been enjoying that. I think I'm going to take these in there. I just kind of brought them in here for purposes and take my mug with me. Don't know if I'm going to make another cup of coffee, although I'd like to have one. I think it's too early. I'll make one. I've already got one set up ready to go. So one thing I did was I got these pods on sale. So 50 cents a cup for Duncan Hines. Or Duncan Hines? No, not Dunkin' Donuts brand coffee that I got on clearance at a Family Dollar, but they were in pods, so I just sliced the pods open and dumped them in my 5-pound, container of coffee and mix it with my regular. I've also got some Krispy Kreme in there too, and I've got some Seattle's Best that I'm going to put in there. Those are more finely ground, and so they tend to, as it fills up, it wants to overflow. So I have to put less in there. And I think I've worked it out. It's happened 2 or 3 times, but for the most part, it's good. And I've been mixing it with my regular, which is a more chunkier, if you will, cut of coffee. It's not so finely, as the Krispy Kreme or the Dunkins. So I mix it, but I still add a little less. And yeah, I'll probably, get a cup and take with me tomorrow. I'll probably need it. And getting a little bit more sun, been working outside during the day. Rex is not a vampire, confirmed. Although it seems like with my schedule and everything, that's kind of, I kind of embrace that. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. And thanks for hanging, chilling, chatting. And yeah, got, what, couple sketch cards completed, or one silver boa. Let's see. Silver boa, and he didn't take long. And Storm Rider. I always have problems with his name. If it's like one, fine. But if it's like Storm Rider 2 or Shadow's Kiss or Sweet Baby, takes me a moment. Anyway, keep collecting, keep drawing, and we will see you at the 4:00 shadow. Unless I get home and I feel like I'm up, probably not. I'll probably save all my energy for that and then rest a little and do a late stream. We're going to be talking Joe Kubert. So I've kind of got a theme. So that kind of makes it easier. So I'll probably get some reference to that. I might do a stream before the 4 o'clock shadow. Still got free use on all three streaming things for StreamYard, so might as well put it to good use. And there'll definitely probably be a draw stream, a chill out stream. These chilling hangs, I just want it to be me. That's the whole thing. Flying solo, just me doing what I need to do. Might get up and leave, get another cup of coffee, get a chair stream, and come back. Might even be muted while I clean and bump around and whatnot. It's just sort of an informal thing. Acknowledge the chat, say hi, talk. These first two have been more talkative, to kind of get people on the ease into it. And I've got a lot to say, sort of ease into what I'm doing, the process, kind of where my mind's at right now. I'm in a good place. I'm, look, man, I've got more energy at almost 60 than most 40 years old. 40-year-old when that midlife crisis. Of course, I weighed myself recently. I think I'm right under 260. I got almost up to 280. That 20 pounds make a lot of difference with me. In the 40s, I got, and then I started coming out of that funk about 47, 48. From about 42, 43 to about 47, it's like, uh, and I need to walk more. That's a good thing. And I think Abby, I'm really not a person to take my dog out and walk my dog. I put her on a tether and outside, and she can, like the other day, the whole almost 2.5 hours she was outside. But it's we're past the dangerously hot weather. She didn't even have any water out there. She drinks very little anyway till she comes in anyway. But it wasn't hot at all. She could have stayed out there longer, really. But this is called the long goodbye, folks, because I'm like pausing. I'm tired. So I'll probably sit in the recliner, watch some, and if I feel like drawing some more, penciling in some more, so that I can ink. And if I get the penciling done, then hey, that's 9 times out of 10. There are a couple I have to do a Jinsaki and circle back on. That stone guy from the 43, I haven't finished him. Jenna, Beatdown, haven't finished her. Thunder Rock, I haven't finished him. So I need, even out of that stack, I've got some that need to be completed. But yeah, I created a new character. Don't know what his name is. Got his look, very simplified look, but going to be one of the 43. Makes sense. If you're torn apart, you may not come back together the way you left, and he didn't even, his body was more energetic, more energy. Why is there diversity? Because they were all sort of given separate treatments. Different things were tried. Not only them, but on 200 individuals. 200 went in, only 43 came out, but they came out 43, but they were scattered through time. So you need a villain of the month. I got one. That's just them. There's other villains I've got. But I needed to beef up my villains. Need to beef up my women. This could be a woman character. Although with the cloak, that's not kind of what I was thinking. I was thinking more of a male figure, but it could be female. It really doesn't matter because it's in a cloak like Raven or the Seer, and she's energy or he's energy. So sort of an energetic erogenous character, but could say she was a female, but that's a little too close to the Seer. So probably a male. I don't know. That's one thing I could do right now before I call it quits. Told you it was a long goodbye. Is see how many 43 characters I have done. And I've got more on the schedule. I just haven't drawn them yet. So Geo is not a character. Zeitgeist is the second one that I did. Zeitgeist is one of the 43. So that's 1, 2. I already had him created before the Twisted Man. In fact, I did not put on here. I put in brackets 43. Twisted Man, I kind of rolled him in as one of the 43. I already had him created. He kind of bends and twists reality. So I think he was 2, right? Lost count. Zeitgeist and the Twisted Man. There's 2. 3, Cinder. Named him the other day. I'm really wanting to call him Meltdown. I don't know if but so there's 3, 4, 5. Although I haven't designated him one of the 43 yet. 6, Siphon. I had to think about that. Because I haven't put him officially down as 43 yet, so we'll put 43 here. Did I lose count again? 7. I think. 8, older character. Don't have a name for him yet. 9. Got to finish him. Cap, man. Come on. So that 10. 11, Euphoria. That's right. She turned out really nice. In fact, this is to kind of inspire me to do a story with her. "12, Baron Steel." Blood Sword, 13, I think. 14, Equilibrium. Pretty. Was that 15? 16? I don't know. I made the Ghost. He's brand new, pretty in the Ghost. New characters to the 43. Decided to do something with him. Nothing says that they had to show up individually. Like Euphoria and the Ghost could show up at the same time, same place, or maybe different locales. You can play with it. Love it. Collider made him one of the 43. Throwback, going to be in a Old Lady Midnight story. I lost count. Viro. So under 20. Under 20. I hate it when you miss the putting the thing on. You mark yourself. Jeez, get ink everywhere. Well, as Mr. Happy, who is a drug dealer who gives you a drug, you psych a lot, you sort of trip and die with a smile on your face. So he's a serial killer, but he does it with the drug he manufactures. As Mr. Happy would say, be happy. And I have to create an online avatar for his face, plus what he would actually look like. I want him to have two different looks, online look that represents him, and then what he would look like. All right, I'm going to get to it. You better too. It's 5, almost 6 a.m. here in the morning. I've got to be at work in 2 hours at 8 o'clock. So, yeah, do your thing, and I will too. And we'll see you on the next broadcast.